All right, Knicks fans, we need to talk. Because there's a decision sitting on this front office's desk right now that should not even be a decision. It should be automatic. It should be a no-brainer. And yet, every single day that goes by without New York locking this guy up, my blood pressure goes up a little more. I'm talking about Josh Hart. And if you're a real one, if you watch this team fight and claw and dive on the floor for loose balls every single night, you already know exactly where I'm going with this. Before we get into it, do me a favor. Smash that like button right now. I don't care if you're 2 seconds into this video. Hit it now, because it genuinely helps this channel grow, and I want more of you seeing takes like this. And drop a comment the second you have an opinion, even if you disagree with me, especially if you disagree with me, because I read every single one. So here's the situation. The Knicks front office has a mountain of contract decisions coming up over the next couple of years. Karl Anthony Towns is going to want a new extension. Mikal Bridges needs to get paid. OG Anunoby is in the same boat. And Jalen Brunson, the engine of this whole thing, obviously needs his money too. That is 4 max caliber conversations happening at basically the same time. And buried in the middle of all of that noise is Josh Hart, a guy who, if we're being brutally honest, is probably the least flashy player in that starting 5. And that's exactly why this makes me furious. Because on paper, to a front office spreadsheet, to some cap strategist who's never sat courtside and felt what this guy brings to a building, Hart might look like the easiest guy to let walk. He's not the guy putting up 30. He's not the guy with a highlight reel. But anybody who actually watches this team knows Josh Hart is a heartbeat. He's a guy diving into the stands for a ball nobody else wants. He's a guy grabbing 11 boards from the guard spot. He's the glue. And if this front office lets glue guys walk because they're chasing shinier names, we're going to regret it, and we're going to regret it fast. Let's talk money, because that's where this gets real. Look around the league at what teams are paying their elite connector guys. Derek White in Boston, Jarrett Allen in Cleveland, Trey Murphy III in New Orleans. These are not superstars putting up 30 a night, but they are winning players, guys who impact winning at the highest level without needing the ball in their hands. All 3 of them are earning right around $30 million a season. Josh Hart belongs in that exact same conversation. He impacts winning at that same level, and half the time he does it without getting a fraction of credit. Now, could Hart's next deal land a little under that number, given where he sits in this specific roster? Sure, that's possible. We could be looking at something like 3 years and $90 million. Maybe it stretches to 4 years, somewhere between $75 and $100 million total. And yeah, on the surface, that sounds like an enormous number for a guy who isn't your number 1 or number 2 option. I get why that makes some fans uncomfortable. But look at how championship rosters are actually built around the league. You get 1 or 2 true max guys, and then you surround them with high-level role players who are being paid really well, but not at that top of the market number. That's the model. That's how you build a real contender. Here's New York's actual problem, though, and this is the part that should worry every single one of you. The Knicks don't have 1 or 2 guys who can argue for max money. They've got 4. Bridges, Anunoby, Towns, and Brunson. Bridges and Anunoby will probably land a little below true max, but we are talking about a little, not a lot. That is an insane amount of money tied up at the top of this roster, and it means something has to give somewhere. And if you're asking me, if you're asking any Knicks fan who's been paying attention, the answer is simple. It would be smarter, it would be far smarter for this front office to let one of those other pieces walk before they even think about letting Josh Hart leave for nothing. And I want to say this clearly because I think it gets lost. This isn't nostalgia talking. This isn't me being sentimental about a guy who dives on the floor a lot. This is actual roster construction logic. Paying hard instead of overpaying to keep every single one of the other 4 names makes financial sense and makes basketball sense. He is a plug-and-play winning piece at a discount compared to what those other 4 going to command. Letting him walk to save a few million while overpaying somewhere else would be one of the more short-sighted moves this front office could possibly make. And honestly, it would be a slap in the face to a guy who has given this franchise everything he's got every single night. If you're still with me, drop a comment telling me who you think should be the guy that gets let go before Josh Hart. Is it Anunoby? Is it Bridges? I want to see this comment section go off, Because this is exactly the kind of roster debate that decides whether this era of Knicks basketball actually gets us a championship or gets us another disappointing exit. Look, I love this team. I love watching this roster fight the way it fights. But loving this team also means holding this front office accountable. And right now, the accountable move is obvious. Extend Josh Hart. Do it before some other team makes an offer sheet that forces our hand and complicates everything. Do it before this turns into a drawn-out negotiation that drags into the season and becomes a distraction. This should not be complicated. This is a guy you build a championship culture around, and letting him get underpaid or letting him walk, because for other guys, want a bigger slice of the pie would be, frankly, an embarrassment. Before you go, hit that like button. If you agree Hart needs to be extended immediately, no excuses. Drop your prediction in the comments on what number his next contract actually lands at. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because we're going to be all over every single update on this negotiation as it happens. This front office has a lot of tough calls coming, but this one, keeping Josh Hart, should be the easiest one they make all year.